In today's video, I will show you the best Sorcerer build in Aion 2. This setup is built entirely around overwhelming ranged pressure, stacking control, and constant spell flow that lets you dictate fights before the enemy even reaches you. Unlike melee or hybrid classes that rely on positioning within close quarters, the Sorcerer dominates through distance, zone manipulation, and stacking burst windows with devastating precision. This build is crafted for PvX performance, meaning you'll feel strong clearing open world mobs, shredding bosses from a safe range in PvE, and absolutely punishing players in PvP when they make even the smallest mistake. The Sorcerer thrives by keeping momentum while never letting opponents reclaim tempo. Every fight starts with controlled spacing. Every cast is aligned with your slow effects or crowd control windows, and every rotation combines together long-range damage, movement management, and MP efficiency. In PvE, the Sorcerer's ability to melt packs with sweeping spells while freezing or staggering elite targets makes it incredibly consistent at both solo and group play. In PvP, this build becomes a nightmare for anyone trying to close the gap. Slows, roots, freezes, and mobility tools allow you to kite endlessly, while high-impact nukes finish targets the moment they're caught out of position. At its core, this build is about rhythm, maintaining the spell cadence, anticipating enemy movement, and chaining your control tools in a way that keeps every encounter fluid and one-sided. And then, just before we start, if you're planning to play Aion 2 on Korean servers, then let me introduce you to Gear Up Booster. No matter how strong your class is, lag can ruin your PvE raids or PvP battles, and that's where Gear Up Booster comes in. It helps to optimize your connection, reduce latency, and stabilize ping across global servers. As you can see from the ping comparison test, the difference before and after using Gear Up is massive. Players from multiple regions experience dramatically lower and more stable ping. This means smoother gameplay, fewer spikes, and way more consistent performance. Using intelligent route optimization, Gear Up ensures smooth gameplay for Aion 2 by minimizing packet loss and spikes. So all you need to do is sign up through their website, then download the software. Then when you have Gear Up on your computer, just log in, choose the game that you want to play. For us it's Aion 2, then select your server region, and then click Boost. And that's it. Now you can enjoy whatever game you want to play with the best possible connection and FPS. Also, Gear Up Booster offers cross-region acceleration, so you can switch between servers effortlessly. And as recently players from US and other countries haven't been able to play the game, so this will fix all of that. If you're serious about climbing PvP ranks or clearing raids without issues, then this is the ultimate tool to enhance your Aion 2 performance, not only for PC, but also mobile. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in description to check them out, and use my code KAIDGAMES for 1-day free trial. Don't miss this opportunity to make your gaming lag free and enjoy the game to the fullest. Your active skills form the backbone of this playstyle, and the Sorcerer's kit is defined by distance control, elemental combos, and heavy front-loaded damage. Frost Shot and Frost Chains are your primary slow effect tools, allowing you to keep enemies at the edge of your optimal casting range. Frost Shot is your bread and butter opener, applying a reliable slow and setting the pace of every engagement. Once that slow lands, Frost Chains tightens the noose by layering an additional movement debuff, which gives you a perfect window to start combining in high damage casts. Fireball and Meteor Blast form the core of your burst chain. Fireball acts as your consistent, single target pressure tool. It's fast, direct, and perfect for using between control abilities. Meteor Blast, on the other hand, is your high damage finisher, which is ideal for punishing staggered enemies or capitalizing on debuff windows created by your elemental skills. When paired with lightning abilities like Thunderstrike or Lightning Burst, you gain access to staggering mechanics that temporarily lock enemies in place, which lets you land uninterrupted high-value nukes. Also, AoE tools like Flame Nova and Ice Pulse let you shred groups with explosive elemental bursts, which is especially useful for farming or managing multi-target dungeon pulls. These spells synergize beautifully with your control toolkit, as slowed or frozen enemies become extremely vulnerable to wide area detonations. On top of this, Blink and Arcane Step act as your emergency mobility sources, allowing you to sidestep danger, reset spacing, and maintain the distance required for optimal spell uptime. Every active skill in this build supports the rhythm, so we slow the enemy, reposition, apply pressure, and then detonate them with precision. Your passive skills boost everything the Sorcerer does well. So, sustained damage, crit scaling, casting speed, and survivability through control. Red Flame Mastery enhances all fire-based spells, increasing the potency of Fireball, Meteor Blast, and Flame Nova, which makes your burst windows significantly more dangerous. Then Blue Frost Insight elevates your control abilities by increasing slow duration and boosting damage against movement-impaired targets, which ties directly into your Frost Shot and Frost Chains opener. Purple Arcane Flow increases casting speed and reduces the impact of being interrupted, which is crucial for maintaining fluid spell rotations, especially in group PvE or chaotic PvP skirmishes. Black Mana Veil provides a thin but reliable layer of magical protection, granting you just enough survivability to withstand opening exchanges if an opponent manages to get close. Yellow Storm Catalyst amplifies critical damage on lightning spells, making Thunderstrike and Lightning Burst far more lethal during stagger windows. When upgraded, these passives stack into a smooth, aggressive, and efficient playstyle. You cast faster, hit harder, and maintain control longer. Even defensive passives serve offensive goals, either by boosting survivability enough to keep casting, or by increasing the effectiveness of your slows and freezes. Everything reinforces our core build's idea. So we are a ranged caster who controls the battlefield through the sheer force of elemental rhythm. For Stigma selection, this build focuses on boosting your burst potential and reinforcing your control toolkit. The first slot goes to Burning Comet, which is a high-impact fire Stigma that extends your burst chain and gives you a devastating mid-range nuke. When timed after a slow or stagger, Burning Comet almost always forces enemies into defensive options or outright finishes weakened targets. Next is Frost Prison, which is an essential control Stigma that provides a freeze effect on demand. This allows you to reset the fight, create space instantly, or set up a guaranteed burst combo. Freezes are critical for locking down melee opponents and creating opportunities for Meteor Blast or Burning Comet without interruption. The final Stigma slot is dedicated to Lightning Shackles, which adds another layer of movement restriction, while boosting lightning damage against immobilized targets. This Stigma fits perfectly into your control burst cycle, giving you another tool to secure stagger windows and land massive lightning detonation follow-ups. Together, these Stigmas enhance your burst, deepen your control options, and expand your mid-fight flexibility. For gear, we're focusing around maximizing magical attack, critical damage, penetration, and casting speed. A top-tier staff or tome like the Arcanist's Focus Staff gives you a strong baseline of magical attack, while offering valuable secondary stats such as increased spell crit and mana recovery. Enhancement bonuses amplify your burst consistency, while Mana Stone slots allow fine-tuning with magic attack, penetration, and crit stones. Armor should support casting speed and magical penetration wherever possible. Cloth sets with innate boost to elemental damage or MP efficiency pair extremely well with the Sorcerer's rotation. Accessories play a vital role too. Rings and necklaces that increase crit damage or elemental boosting dramatically magnify your finishing power during Meteor Blast or Burning Comet windows. Set bonuses often grant additional casting speed or elemental damage, which sync directly with your playstyle. The goal is simple. Your gear should let you cast faster, hit harder, and maintain your spell flow without running out of MP. Small increases in penetration and crit damage result in massive breakpoints during burst combos, especially when targets are immobilized or staggered. Your stat priorities mirror the build's underlying philosophy. So, overwhelming ranged damage backed by consistent control. Magical attack sits at the top of the list, as it amplifies every spell regardless of element or purpose. Casting speed comes next, because your entire kit revolves around maintaining momentum and never allowing enemies to close the distance. Faster casts translate directly into stronger kiting, cleaner rotations, and more frequent burst windows. On top of it, critical rate and critical damage amplify your nukes, making your fireball chains and meteor blast windows exponentially more dangerous. Penetration ensures your spells slice through magical defenses, which is especially important in higher tier PvP and endgame PvE. Accuracy plays a role too, ensuring your spells reliably connect even against high evasion targets. Daevanion board focuses on enhancing your signature elemental spells, reducing cooldowns, and deepening your control capabilities. Fireball and Meteor Blast upgrades should come first, improving their damage, crit scaling, and cast speed. These improvements turn your burst combos into lethal threats especially when lined up with freeze or stagger effects. Frost Shot and Frost Chain upgrades are next, as extending slow duration and boosting damage against impaired targets directly increases your survivability and control over engagements. AoE upgrades for Flame Nova and Ice Pulse help with mob clearing and dungeon flow, smoothing your overall rotation and giving you more flexibility in group scenarios. You want lightning upgrades that enhance stagger duration or reduce cooldowns, as they increase the reliability of your stun windows, allowing you to chain your highest damage spells with perfect timing. Mobility enhancements to Blink or Arcane Step grant faster repositioning, tighter spacing control, and extra survivability. The guiding principle is simple: upgrade what reinforces your rotation flow. So damage first, control second, and mobility third. Every selected node should directly improve the consistency and impact of your elemental rhythm. And finally, let's see how to actually play this build. We want to begin with establishing control through Frost Shot, applying the initial slow and dictating spacing. Immediately follow with Frost Chains to deepen the movement debuff, ensuring your target cannot close the gap. Once the slow is secured, you begin by using Fireball Pressure, while repositioning to maintain your ideal casting distance. When your enemy enters the stagger or freeze window, which is triggered by Lightning Burst, Thunderstrike, or Frost Prison, you unload your highest damage spells. Meteor Blast, Burning Comet, and Flame Nova become devastating during this window, often forcing enemies into panic defensives or outright securing kills. In PvE, this same rotation applies, so with AoE spells inserted during mob pulls and freezes used to control elites. We want to maintain MP flow by combining basic spells during downtime, and use Blink to adjust your distance whenever enemies attempt to flank or collapse onto you. The key is constant rhythm, so we slow, reposition, pressure, and then finish with Burst. Every cast keeps the tempo high, every control tool creates another window, and every burst combo punishes the moment an enemy loses footing.